Hi everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to take a look at simple interest. This is lesson 3.12, and you can find this on page 281 in the textbook. So go ahead and put your name, class hour, and today's date up at the top. Make sure you have a calculator. We got lots of numbers to crunch in today. And let's take a look. So we're going to only have one objective today. It is a long one, but it's actually pretty easy overall. So we're going to solve simple interest problems and apply the simple interest equation to real world problems. Okay, solve simple interest problems and apply the simple interest equation to real world problems. Okay, so again, sounds like a lot. It's actually not too bad. All right, so we're going to solve simple interest problems and apply the simple interest equation to real world problems. Okay, so again, make sure you have a calculator. I am using one myself, so make sure you have one ready to go. Okay, there's a formula for this one, and I gave it to you right here in the middle. It's called I equals PRT. I equals PRT. Okay, so what does all this mean? I means how much interest you're actually earning. The capital P is the principal. That's how much you're going to either invest or borrow. Your R is your annual interest rate. Okay, it has to be annual, so it has to be in years, which leads us to the next part, which is time, and time has to be in years. So if they give it to you in months, you're going to have to convert that into years. Okay, so that's why I said you're definitely going to want a calculator because there's a lot of numbers to multiply here. Okay, now it does say that your interest rate needs to be as a decimal because we have a percent key on our calculator. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you as a percent. Okay, you guys already know how to change percents into decimals anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to show you the other way just because I think it's a little bit easier if you do it that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right, it says, find the simple interest round to the nearest cent if necessary. So remember that the nearest cent in this case would be 2 decimal places because we're talking about money. All right, so we have $1,000 at 4.5% interest for 2 years. Okay, so what this means is we're going to take 1,000. Well, let's write the formula first. So it's I equals PRT. Okay, I is the interest, so we're finding I. Okay, so we're taking the principal times the rate times the time. So we're literally going to take 1,000. We're going to times that by 4.5%. And we're going to times that then by 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and type that in. So we're going to type in 1,000 times 4.5% and then times 2. And we should have came up with 90. So this equals $90. And that's it. All right, so you're basically taking your 3 numbers, multiplying it, and you've got it. Okay, the only thing you have to look for is make sure your interest rate, or not your interest rate, I'm sorry, your time is in year form, okay? All right, so let's look at B. We have $2,500 at 6.75% for 3 years. So that would be 2,500. We're going to times that by 6.75%. And we're going to times that by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So take 2,500 times 6.75% times 3. And that should come out to $506. Oops, there we go. Let's do it that way. Oh, still messed up. $506.25. And there we go. All right, let's go ahead and pause it and let's try parts A and B by ourselves down there below. And if you're really good, then let's go ahead and do the need another example questions as well. So go ahead and do all 4. because I'm going to buzz through those then pretty quick. All right, let's take a look. So we'll take 2250 times 6%. Oops. Sorry to use the X. We use the dot. And then times 4. Okay, that should give you $540. Okay, next one. It's 4,000 times 4.25%. Oh, let me use the dot instead. Sorry. Use the dot there. And then for 1 year. Okay, so for this one, we multiply straight through, and we should get $170 altogether. Okay, so what does all this mean? I kind of forgot to talk about this. So what this means is, if you would invest $4,000, okay, and your interest rate at the current time was 4.25%, and you invest that money for 1 year, that means you'd make an additional $170. So, is it a lot? No, but I mean, $170 is $170 you didn't have. Okay, so that's what that means. Or if you're borrowing that money, okay, so let's say you're trying to buy a house or something else, and you take out a loan. So if you take out a loan for $4,000, that means that if you pay it back within a year, you're going to have to pay back your $4,000 in addition to an extra $170. So the bank is going to charge you $170 for borrowing their $4,000. Okay, and that's how credit cards work and all that stuff. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the another example ones. So we would take 2,000 times 2.5% times 3 years, and that's going to give us $150. And then the next one is 4,500 times 4.25% times 2, and that's going to come out to $382.50. Okay. So again, if we borrowed $4,500 at 4.25% interest for 2 years' time, that means in addition to paying back our full $4,500, we would have to pay an additional $382.50 because we needed to borrow that money. Or if it's an investment, that means we would make that much off of our investment. All right. So sometimes interest is low, you're not going to make very much. Okay, like on the other one, 2.5%, when interest rates are really, really low, banks don't do so well. It's more of a buyer's market or the consumer market, whereas when interest gets really, really high, like up there on number 1A with the 6%, okay, that's when they start making more money, but people usually borrow less because it costs so much more to do it. So you kind of got to find a happy medium to make the economy boom and stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and turn the page. All right, let's take a look at this one. It says, Mr. Gable borrowed $1,860 to buy a computer. He will pay $71.30 per month for 30 months. Find the simple interest rate for his loan. All right, so remember, this is I equals PRT. Okay, so it tells us that he's going to borrow $1,860. That's our principal here, so that's $1,860. Okay, we don't know the rate, so that's going to be our R. And then we're going to do it for 30 months. Okay, well, we can't do 30 months. Remember, it has to be in years. So 30 months equals how many years? Okay, well, we're just going to divide that by 12. So we take 30, divide that by 12. Take 30 and divide that by 12. And that's 2.5 or 2.5. So he's going to end up borrowing this money for 2.5 years. All right. Now, it says his monthly payments are going to be $71.30. So we're going to have to figure out how much he's actually paying back here. So we're going to have $71.30 times, and then we're going to do that for 30 months straight. So that means altogether he's going to end up paying $2,139. Okay, $2,139. Well, he only borrowed 1,860, so we got to find the interest. Okay, so how much did he pay back in interest? Well, he ended up paying a total of $21.39 for his computer, but we're going to subtract off what he originally borrowed, which was $18.60, to figure out how much he actually paid extra. Okay, so in interest, he ended up paying $279. So that's what comes over here to our I. Okay, let me explain all that again. Okay, so we should know how to get P and T because that was the easy part, okay? Simple interest means how much does the bank make off of you when you borrow money, or how much do you make off of the bank for having an investment? Okay, so either how much the bank makes off of you for borrowing you money, or how much do you make off of the bank for investing money, all right? That's what that I means. Well, to figure out how much he had to pay extra into that, we had to calculate how much he ended up paying altogether. Well, it told us that he had $71.30 every month for 30 months, which means once he paid off his computer, he ended up paying a total price then of $21.39, okay? So that's what it really cost him. Well, he only needed, though, $1,860, but because of the interest rate, he had to pay more than that. So he ended up paying the bank an extra $279 so that he could get his fancy computer, okay? So that's where all that came from. Okay, so now we're ready to solve. So we're going to put some things together here. Okay, so we're going to take 1860 times 2.5. We're going to solve the equation here. So 1860 times 2.5, so this is still 279 over here. 1860 times 2.5, that's 4,650. And then R. Okay. Now, this is just swap from what we're used to saying. We're used to saying the letters on the left, right? Okay. It doesn't really matter if they're on the right or the left. We try to keep them on the left, but it doesn't matter in the long run. Okay. Then we're going to divide this off. So that's 4,650. Okay. Our rate, so our R equals, when we divide that out, we're going to come out to 0.06. Okay, now remember, interest is given to us as a decimal. All right, we usually write it as a percent. So what would be 0.06 mean? That would mean 6%. And there we go. Okay, so the interest rate is 6%. Okay, so that one's a little bit complicated. So the easy part was at the beginning, obviously. All right, just take your time, work your way through it. All right, let's try the guided question all together, and I'll let you try the need another example one by yourself. Okay, financial literacy. Suppose Nan Tai placed $2,400 in the bank for 5 years. He makes $9.20 in interest each month. Find the annual interest rate. Okay, so remember it's I equals PRT. I equals PRT. Okay, so we know he invested $2,400. Right, it's a guy. Yes, okay, it's a guy. So 2,400. Okay, we're trying to find that interest rate again, and then we gotta find the time. Well, this time they gave us in years, so that did save us a step right there. All right, so we know it's at least that much. Okay, now he's going to make $9.20 every single month. So that means we're gonna have $9.20 every month for 5 years. So now we're gonna have to convert that. So how many months would that be if there's 5 years? So 5 times 12, which would be 60. So he's going to get $9.20 60 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate that. So 9 times 20 would be, or 920 times 60 would be 552. All right, that's what he's actually making. So that's his interest earned. Okay, and the last problem, that's what the guy had to pay to the bank. This is what this guy is getting back from the bank because it's an investment this time and not a loan. Okay, so then from there, we're going to put our two constants together on the right. So we have 2,400 times 5. That's going to make 12,000. So 552 equals 12,000. R, we're going to divide that by 12,000. And we get 0.046. So R equals 0.046, okay? And then we need to change that into a decimal, so we slide over 2 times, which makes it 4.6%. And there we have it. All right? All right, let's try the need another example by yourself. Just do the best you can. If you get stuck, that's fine. Just try to work your way through it and then catch up to me as soon as you're ready. All right, it says Mr. Webster borrowed $1,280 to buy a new swimming pool. He will pay $57.60 each month for the next 24 months. Find the simple interest rate. Okay, so again, he's going to invest, or I'm sorry, he's borrowing $1,280. We're looking for that interest rate. The time is 24 months, so that would be 2 years. Okay, now we got to figure out how much interest the bank is going to make off of him. So if he's going to pay $57.60 every month for 24 months, that means his total is going to be $1,382.40. Okay, so that's what he's going to pay total. Well, the interest means what the bank makes off of him. So we're going to subtract that off of how much he actually borrowed. So if he actually paid in $1,382 and he borrowed $1,280, that means that the bank only made $102.40. Okay, so not very much. All right, now we're going to multiply. So 1280 times 2, that's 2560. And then we'll divide that, of course. And that comes out to 0.04, which is 4%. There we go. Okay, so about 4% interest is what he ended up paying on that. Okay, not very much. Again, you got to find that happy medium. So some people think that interest should be super low because people buy a lot in the economy, which is great. Okay, people spend more money, but then other people say, no, it needs to be high so that people can invest money and make money that way. So you got to kind of find the happy medium where you're making a little bit at a time, but not a whole lot. Whereas if you're buying something and you need to take out a loan, it's not going to break you. Okay, so yes, you're going to pay a lot, but it's not going to be, a horrible amount. All right. Okay, that is it for this one. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.